It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. Teresa Chase, the Prescott National Forest Supervisor, is with us today, and we're going to find out what a forest supervisor is and a few other things about the Prescott National Forest. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I should say welcome to the area, too.
Yes.
Shame on me. I don't think I've spoken to you since you arrived.
That's true. I don't think we've met.
No. And when did you arrive? Let's start with that. Let's start with that. When did you arrive here on the Prescott National Forest?
End of September. It was a beautiful time to arrive because you just had monsoon season and everything was blooming. It was green. It was gorgeous. It was a great fall.
Where'd you come from?
Most recently, I was in Missouri on the Mark Twain National Forest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you traveled quite a distance.
To arrive here?
Yeah, to get here.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your career as a forest supervisor. Where'd you all start this out at?
Well, with the Forest Service, I started on the Idaho Panhandle in Idaho, so I worked in a couple forests in Idaho. I'd gone to school in Montana in Bozeman. And then I moved east and worked in Michigan as a district ranger, Upper Peninsula of Michigan on Lake Superior. Worked there for many, many years. Then,
what's that like? That's extremely different from where you are today.
Yes.
You know, Michigan and the Great Lakes.
Yes.
I'm from Minnesota near Lake Superior, so I know the Great Lakes. And what was that like up there?
Very forested, hardwoods, and then a lot of water, a lot of wetlands. So, a lot of wetlands. So this time of year, a lot of bugs. So one of the reasons I'm very happy to be here.
Right.
And just long winters, a lot of lake effect snow. So we would end up with, between 200 and 300 inches of snow a year.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and then of course this year the ice held on Lake Superior, and my husband actually was telling me, he saw on the news this morning that they just called it the ice is finally totally gone.
Oh, really?
From the lake. Yeah.
Not weird. That's so weird to think that. But it was cold up there this year. I have friends in Michigan that talked about having just 10-foot high snow piles on both sides of their driveway. So they really got hit this year, and we got left behind this year.
Yes,
so then after Michigan.
After Michigan, where I was a district ranger, I was in Missouri on the Mark Twain, and that was as a deputy forest supervisor. So that forest was about 1.5 million acres. Also, still a lot of timber management there, some range, fire, a lot of fire management there as well as here. And that area was unique because a lot of caves, a lot of karst formation, a lot of springs.
Oh, really?
So, again, very wet. And then there are a lot of ticks and chiggers.
Ticks and chiggers in Missouri, huh?
And tornadoes.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've been across the whole country, so you've seen all kinds of different types of forests then.
Yes, this is my first time in an arid climate, and this forest, only about 10% of the land on this forest is in like a ponderosa pine type that's really managed, or where we would have timber sales. So, and over 90% of our forest has range allotments. So that's a bit of a change for me. So
the range allotments would be different, huh? From going from timber sales to now you're talking range grasslands and ranching and cattle and stuff. So that's different.
Yes, so that's very different. Much more open country here. And then, of course, the climate is totally different than where I've been. Much more blue sky and a lot less gray sky.
So how does somebody who's been to Idaho and then to Michigan and then to Missouri wind up in Arizona? What brought you out to Arizona?
Well, I've visited here quite a few times. I had relatives south in Tucson, and so I'd been up through this area. And Prescott, I'd driven through before, and just always had in my mind of Prescott as one of those wonderful destination places, a beautiful place to live, and so I'd wanted to come to northern Arizona and kind of looked around for opportunities over the years, actually, and just the variety. It's learning, you know, it's continual learning, and so the different kind of management here, and the different climate and different programs that the forest has all contribute to my interest in coming here. And then I kind of looked around for, as national forests go, Prescott's on western forests at the small range of forests, what I would call intimate, and I wanted to be in a place where I could really know and meet all the forest employees and the communities. This area has a fabulous reputation for the partnerships and working together, the working relationships, so that very much attracted me to this area. It
really does have a great relationship. I remember years ago when I first started doing this, there was some struggle between the agencies talking with each other, but that is not the case anymore. Everybody really does work well together.
Yes, they do.
Is that different from where you've been in the past?
I think that nationwide, as far as the Forest Service, partnerships and being a part of the community and working with the communities is a high priority. But it's different every place, and I think in this area, it's the most engagement I've seen. I mean, just Verde Valley. It's we were at a meeting with legislative aides yesterday, and I was saying it seems like everybody in the Verde Valley volunteers or partners in some way. It's very active. And then the relationship, like with Arizona Game and Fish and the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and Natural Resources Conservation Service, all we try to work together on projects. An example would be the Central Arizona Grasslands Project,
which just came up recently.
Yeah, there was just the public meeting last week on that in Prescott that there was a lot of interest in. It was very well attended. You know, it's trying to maintain the openness of the grasslands, that habitat for many species. But pronghorn is one of the biggies in that effort, and a lot of people are very interested in still having pronghorn habitat, both for hunting, but just people enjoy seeing wildlife, enjoy seeing them. So there's a lot of support and interest, and you know there were people there from, say, Chino Valley. They wanted to know, okay, what can we do to help? What are the types of things that we can all work together on? So it's just been a really good partnership with Game and Fish on that, and trying to improve some of the grasslands on public lands, you know, clearing juniper to have it more open for pronghorn.
Yeah, the stuff encroaches on those grasslands, doesn't it? So we got to kind of clear that back so the grassland can be back. Let's take a break, all right? Prescott National Forest Supervisor Teresa Chase is in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Ronnie had huge aspirations.
He knew he could get pills in the community.
He found his body in an apartment in Telford.
I never thought my son would take prescription drugs without a prescription.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
I would steal pills from my friend's mom.
We talk about all the common drugs, but never prescription medication.
I was addicted to pills.
Had I more knowledge, I would have done things differently.
Secure your medications and talk with your kids. Visit drugfree.org.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Welcome back to Countywide. Prescott National Forest Supervisor Teresa Chase in studio today. Thanks for tuning in. You know, I had Alan in here, I had Betty in here, the former forest supervisors. I don't think I've asked either one of them just what a forest supervisor is. So why don't you clue us in on that? What does your job entail? I mean, you're taking care of the whole Prescott National Forest, right? You're up here, and then it does the whole pyramid thing down, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I would say the pyramid builds from the
up and fills
bottom
you up
up.
with all
The key is are the people that are working on the ground. But well, the way the Forest Service is organized is kind of like what they call line management, or the that make the decisions and that. So it goes from the chief of the Forest Service, who oversees the whole country, and then a regional forester, and our region covers New Mexico and Arizona, and then forest supervisors who oversee the separate forests, and then the district rangers.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, so I am the decision maker, the leader, or however you want to put it, the person that talks on the phone and goes to meetings for the forest.
Right.
And then, so I oversee the whole forest, but then the district rangers, they have an actual area of ground that they manage as well. So a big part of my job is the district rangers would be on that piece of ground, having the relationships with the communities and organizations and that to accomplish the work on the ground. And then I'm like a level up from that, coordinating that for the forest, and then also having those relationships maybe more at a county level with county supervisors, or a state level with people from State Department of Forests or Game and Fish and that.
So do you like it?
I love it.
It's a big job. It sounds like a big job.
Yeah, but you know what they say, people that love the work they do, it's not really a job, and so I strongly feel that people that work for the Forest Service, really, we all feel like we have a calling or an interest in service and an interest in the natural resources. So it's important to be dedicated, and it is work, but it's something that I care very much about, and so I enjoy.
Now let me ask you this: we've seen forest supervisors come and go, and the district rangers come and go. It seems like there's almost, and I don't know if this is part of the job, but it seems like 4 or 5 years, one will leave and a new one will come in. A few years later, one leaves, one comes in. Is that done intentionally? Because part of me thinks maybe it's like Heather Provencio from the Red Rock Ranger District. She she left this last year, and she hadn't been here for very long, but she'd been here for a little while. Betty, our last forest supervisor, was here for a few years and then moved on. Is that kind of how that job works, to kind of get you around the country to see where you fit the best, or how does that work there?
Well, there's a mix of, I guess, of Forest Service people that some will stay more regionally, and then, but there's also a very strong culture in the Forest Service of moving around to gain experience. And then also there's a strong emphasis on spending some time in the Washington office of learning that national perspective, or how things work, how we interact with Congress.
Okay.
So there is this emphasis on moving around, especially if you want to move up in the organization, and it's just, maybe it's the experience, you know, rather than the school tract. It's the experience tract of spending time in different places, learning. You know, so I may come here where there's range management, but I've also seen how they did it in Montana or Idaho, and so I'm not totally coming here cold, and maybe I come with some other ideas of things that have worked. So it's that exchange of ideas, but very much for, if you want to advance in the organization, there's expectation or culture of moving around to gain that experience. But it's also critically important that there be people that are from the region or the state and know the area. So you have that mix of knowledge about the communities and knowledge about the land, and and then those exchange of ideas. So you have both of that there.
I guess like anything else, it's good to have, okay, here comes Teresa in. She's been in Idaho, Montana, and Michigan, and Missouri. So you've got to be bringing some new ideas to the table. I guess I kind of thought, and I know it's not one shoe fits all, but one size fits all, one shoe fits all. Anyways, but you bring in new ideas. Now, say the rangelands that go on in Arizona, is it the same in Montana? Is it formatted the same, or is it completely different?
Oh, no, the programs with the Forest Service are pretty much national. They're pretty consistent across the country.
Okay.
You know, there's some things that'll vary by region, or some things that we emphasize as a forest that they may not do everywhere, like some of our youth programs, like the Conservation Corps, the youth program that's out working right now. That's a nationwide program, but some forests may have that program and others may not. You know, it's kind of what you put an emphasis on.
One shoe fits all. I can't believe I said that. Okay, we got to take another break. Teresa Chase in studio today. She is the Prescott National Forest Supervisor. I'm Paul David, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Siller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
I can keep pushing. Believe me, I'm good at it. But at some point, you're going to need to start pushing yourself.
See, once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell them. You can't change your past, but you can definitely change your future. That makes me so happy, I'm ready to bust out a dance.
Mr. Trejo, can I transfer this guy to you? My gentle technique isn't really working. You need something a little more
persuasive.
Yes.
You listen, and you listen good.
Hey, where's my sandwich? Terry? Terry!
Take it from me, the King DMC. It's a real cool thing to get your GED.
Get that diploma!
Now hold on and we'll find you free GED classes. Capiche?
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. And real quick, let's talk about, we've had a few wildfires in the Prescott National Forest this year. Tell me about those, and are we doing pretty good? It's pretty dry. It's very dry.
It's extremely dry. It's very dry, and I think we've been pretty lucky so far. We've had about 15 fires. They've all been small, so the total is only 7 acres.
Total this year so far, 7 acres is what we've lost here in the Prescott National. Okay.
Yeah, and several of those have been along I-17. Some of them have been campfires. Then there was a fire outside of Walker, and
2 of those.
2 of those.
Do we know where the investigation are with those? I know the cause was under investigation.
No.
Okay, so no word on those yet.
We don't have word on that, but you know, everybody's awareness is way up in the community, and also the firefighters. We've got a lot of extra resources here that are out patrolling, and I think the amount of unattended fires has really reduced the last couple of weeks. I think the public's being pretty good about it. From what people have told me in the past, in terms of the calls that we've had in complaining about unattended fires and finding them, the numbers are down this year. So I really have to give credit to the public and the communities and the Yavapai County. They've been just fabulous on getting the word out, and everybody's been really serious about it this year.
It'd be pretty hard to miss it, wouldn't it, this year?
Yes.
I mean, with all the over interstate signs that are going on right now about wildfire season, no campfires, no charcoal. I see the ADOT signs on the side of, I've seen them on the side of 89A towards Flagstaff. I've seen them on the side of I-17. There's plenty of signage out there that tells people they can't have a campfire right now. Yeah. It almost seems like we need one big fire per year to make everybody stop and really think about the fact that, wow, you know what, they were right. It is pretty dry out here.
Yes, and I'm good to go with the slide fire. That can be our one big fire for the year.
Me too.
And we don't need to have any others.
That was a scary one.
Because as careful as everyone's been, the fire danger this year it's kind of off the charts in terms of how dry it is. We're at minimum moisture in our fuels, and some least humidity, all that. Everything's just a lot drier in our indices. So it's high fire danger, so we may be thinking about, we're in level 2 restrictions, but we also need to consider, because if we had a fire getaway, or if we had a fire, it's so dry,
it'll burn everything.
Well,
it just takes off so fast.
Yeah, thanks. I'm obviously short on words here, but
that fire,
it could be very volatile. So we just we have some additional concerns, and so we're starting to have those conversations about do we need to take more precautions about closures and that, and we'll be having those conversations.
Everybody's waiting for the monsoon.
Yes.
Very nice to meet you, Teresa Chase.
Very nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming in. Glad you're here. I'm Paul David. That's today's Countywide, and we will talk to you again next time.